You can drive up and see the Grand Canyon from the rim, but to fully experience this natural wonder, you have to set off on foot. Trish Rose shares her journey into the 18-mile wide, 1 mile deep, grandest of canyons. I didn't suggest this book to Jim when on our second date I said, I've got a permit to hike the Grand Canyon and I have a space. Want to come? I did say it is one of the 7 wonders of the natural world, along with Mount Everest, the Northern Lights, and the Great Barrier Reef, and I promised more stars than he'd ever seen. Hiking the Grand Canyon requires planning. If you're camping, you need a permit. You have to apply on the first day of the month, 4 months prior to your trip. So if you want to spend Christmas in the Grand Canyon this year, you need to apply August 1st. The permit comes with a wire to hook it to your group leader's backpack. Essential equipment for the hike is your backpack, sturdy boots, and water bottles. I should have also put my hat in this photo. What not to take? A tent. If it rains, you'll dry off, and you'll see the stars better. A mirror, you will not need it. A book, you will not read it. If you are hiking Mount Everest or any other mountain, you start by going up. The hardest is first. Mountains tend to weed out the people who shouldn't go. Turn around and downhill back to your car. The Grand Canyon is the exact opposite. The hardest is the last. It's the largest canyon on the earth. You can see the geological history of the earth in the exposed rock layers. It was formed by the movement of the earth's tectonic plates and the carving force of the Colorado River. The depth of the canyon ranges from 1,000 to 6,000 feet. My son Nick and wife Ashley headed to the shuttle to start our hike. For a rim-to-rim hike, you have to end up, you want to, where your car is. So it's 5 hours by shuttle from the south to the north rim. I recommend leaving your car at the south rim, riding the shuttle, and starting the hike the next day from the north to the south. Depending on how prepared you are, your Grand Canyon hike can be a vacation or a challenge, a revelation or an ordeal. It's all of these and more. At a campground, we learned from the Boy Scout troop there that you can use the caterpillar method, where all of you hike 20 steps and you rest 10 while the last hiker comes around. It can be a lifesaver. Water is heavy. It was definitely a letdown to see this sign at the start of our last hike. The pipeline was broken. Usually drinking water is available at 3 places on the North Rim Trail and 3 on the south. Depending on the temperature, the weight of the hiker, the weight of the pack, up to 10 gallons or 2 gallons of water per day is required. The Grand Canyon became a national park in 1919. Yellowstone was the first national park in 1872. Once you step off the rim and start down, it looks like it looked then. The National Park Service was created in 1916 with a mandate to preserve the parks in their natural state. The 100th anniversary next year. My first trip to Phantom Ranch, it was 119 degrees when I reached the bottom. When weather is brutally hot and your body sweats profusely, water is not enough. Sweating out salts reduces your body's ability to cool. You need to eat salty food and replenish your electrolytes. Electrolyte packets are great. The Bright Angel Campground at Phantom Ranch is a welcome oasis at the bottom. The cool Bright Angel Creek meets the Colorado River. I recommend staying 2 nights. You can explore Phantom Ranch, the ranger talk to other hikers, although very possibly they might speak another language. Everything arrives at Phantom Ranch by foot or hoof. This mailbag carries your postcards up by mule. At the canteen, you can reserve an evening meal of steak or stew and breakfast served at 4:30 a.m. You can also buy lemonade and candy bars. Most of the 278 miles of the Colorado River are deceptively calm. It descends an average of 8 feet per mile, but 160 rapids account for a half of the total drop. The renowned Rapid Lava Falls is the fastest navigable whitewater in the Northern Hemisphere. The trail down from the north is 14 miles. The trail up on the south is 10. So a rim-to-rim hike is 24 miles long. Both Cottonwood Campground, halfway up on the north, and Indian Gardens, halfway on the south, offer beautiful side hikes. Here's Nick at Plateau Point. The first record of exploration of the Grand Canyon was the Spaniard Coronado. In searching for the 7 cities of gold, he heard from the Hopi Indians about a great river. He sent some men to look over the rim. They estimated the river about 8 feet wide and came back and said it was unremarkable. They continued their quest into Kansas, searching for the 7 cities of gold. 3 more centuries would pass before Major John Wesley Powell would lead his first boat expedition of the Colorado River, a 3-month journey in which 3 of his 10 men died. On his second trip, 2 years later, he took several scientists and produced the first reliable maps of the Colorado River. The Grand Canyon has hundreds of tributaries and slot canyons. Flash floods are a real possibility, especially July to mid-September. You can have blue sky above you, but thunderstorms miles away can cause flooding. Sparse vegetation also increases the volume coming into the canyon. This is the only sight you might see that John Wesley Powell wouldn't have seen. Rescues are conducted by helicopter. This was a guide on one of our river trips who needed to be rescued. We cleared a landing pad by moving rocks. A cost of rescue is a minimum of $5,000. On a river trip, this is what your bathroom looks like. River trips range from 5 to 18 days. The first thing when you land for the evening, the guides set up the groover. That's a river runner slang for a portable toilet. When you go in, you pick up the key, which is that yellow seat cushion, and that indicates the groover is occupied. Jim said yes, and he survived. And now it's time for the Junior Ranger Pledge. Please raise your right hands and repeat. I promise to teach others.
I promise to teach others
about what I learned today. And help preserve and protect our national parks for future generations.
And help preserve our national parks